If you're over 50 and you masturbate, please listen closely. What I'm about to share could change your prostate, your life, and your health. Not old stories, but powerful new science and your prostate's well-being. Hello, gentlemen. I'm Dr. Katherine Rotker, a urologist who spent over 20 years specifically helping men just like you understand their bodies better. I provide clarity in the changes that happen later in life, and always do it without judgment. Today, we're talking openly about something incredibly common but rarely discussed: masturbation. The latest research might completely change how you see this private habit. This is vital information you likely haven't heard before. Let's begin with the science that started it all. A major study followed 30,000 men for 18 years. It found that men who ejaculated about 19 times or more per month had a 22% lower risk of prostate cancer. This research was published in the International Journal of Urology, lending serious credibility to the findings. Think about that, a potentially 1/5 lower cancer risk from an activity that's completely natural, free, and within your control. But that's just the beginning. The real story includes how often you should be ejaculating, the specific mistakes you must avoid for your prostate, and the amazing wider benefits that come. Before we go deeper, if this topic matters to you, please hit that like button right now. Then type yes in the comments if you're ready to trade myths for modern science. And if you want this kind of honest, shame-free health information, please subscribe and tap the notification bell. Welcome to a community built on trust and facts. Now, let's address the quiet part out loud. A lot of men have questions about masturbation, but feel too embarrassed to ask. You might wonder, is this still normal at my age? Am I doing this too much? Could this actually be harming me? The truth is, if you have these questions, you're definitely not alone. Men just like you have the very same questions. They just don't talk about it openly. And unfortunately, many doctors don't bring it up during checkups, so men end up in the dark on this topic. Let me assure you right now, masturbation in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond is absolutely normal. In fact, research shows that nearly 2 out of every 3 men over 50 have masturbated in the past year. When we look at men between 60 and 75, that number is roughly half or more within the last month. So if you're doing it, you're in the majority, not some odd exception. It's a natural sexual behavior that can continue throughout your entire life. My goal for you today is to help you move from that worried thought, "Am I weird for this?" to a much more powerful question. I want you to start asking, how can I do this in a way that optimizes my health? That is the conversation we're having today. That is where real power and peace of mind are found. I'll be honest, as a urologist, one thing that frustrates me is how many men have no idea that this natural habit can actually provide significant health benefits, especially for their prostate. So many have gone their whole lives thinking of it as a guilty pleasure at best or something shameful at worst. Here's some background. Your prostate is a gland that changes over time. In many men, it grows larger. By age 60, roughly 50% of men have some prostate enlargement, and by 85, that number is about 90%. This growth can lead to urinary issues, and of course, the risk of prostate cancer also increases. Sexual function changes too. It's during all these changes that regular ejaculation through sex or masturbation can play a protective, positive role. But most men are never taught this. So today, I'm asking you to start seeing ejaculation in a new light. I want you to see this not as a taboo subject, but as a proactive measure for your prostate and sexual health. Think of it as doing routine maintenance on your body. To help you do that, I'm going to walk you through 7 clear, evidence-based principles. Think of them as pillars of understanding. Together, they create a practical guide that shows you how to work with your body's natural design to support your health for years to come. Let's start with the first and most important principle, what I call the prostate protection effect. We touched on this in the intro. It showed something very specific. It wasn't just a vague connection. The research found a direct relationship. More frequent ejaculation linked to greater protection. Men who reached that range of about 19 times or more a month showed a 23% lower risk. And this benefit was clearest in men over 40. This information is directly for you. This finding isn't alone. Another independent study out of Australia, published in the British Journal of Urology International, found very similar results. In that research, men who ejaculated on the order of 6 to 7 times a week were significantly less likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer by age 70 than men who ejaculated only once a week or less. In fact, the high-frequency group saw their risk drop by roughly a third to nearly half in that study. Multiple studies, different populations, all pointing to the same conclusion. Regular ejaculation correlates with a lower prostate cancer risk. Now, why would this work? Why would ejaculating more often help protect your prostate? Your prostate gland makes fluid. If that fluid sits there for a long time without being released, it can become concentrated. Things that might irritate or damage the cells build up. Regular ejaculation clears that fluid out. It's a natural flush for the system. Think of it like changing the oil in your car. You do that to remove the old, gritty stuff so the engine runs clean. Your prostate benefits from that same kind of regular maintenance. I have a patient, he's 61 now, with a strong family history of prostate cancer. His father had it, and so did an older brother. We talked about this research, and he decided to make it a priority to keep up a regular ejaculation schedule. He made sure to either have sex with his wife or masturbate multiple times each week consistently. Fast forward 5 years, his checkups are great. His PSA levels, that's a blood marker for prostate issues, have remained low, and his physical prostate exams have all been normal. Now, of course, this practice isn't a 100% shield against cancer, but it's a meaningful, proactive step you can take for your health. And I always tell men, why not take advantage of it? If this idea makes sense to you, that something so simple can be so supportive, let me know with a like on this video. It tells me this clear, practical science is helping. So you might be wondering, what's the right number of times to ejaculate for better health? The research points to a sweet spot. Think of it as a target zone. That zone is roughly 19 to 21 times per month. That averages out to about 5 times each week. Now, before anyone panics or cheers thinking I have to do it exactly 5 times per week, keep in mind this is an average. Some weeks you might have sex or masturbate more. Other weeks may be a bit less. That's completely fine. Your monthly average is what guides you. It's also really important to note that this count includes all forms of ejaculation. Sex with a partner counts. Masturbation counts. Even those occasional spontaneous nighttime releases count. They all add up toward your health target. This is especially important for men who don't have a consistent partner. For you, masturbation isn't a consolation prize. It's your primary, effective tool for prostate health maintenance. In fact, surveys have found that masturbation rates among married or partnered men are nearly the same as those of single men in the same age group. This is a normal health behavior for everyone. Now, an important clarification. The benefits level off once you get to that target zone. More isn't better. Going far beyond that number doesn't give you extra protection. In fact, it can tip into a pattern that causes other issues we'll talk about later. This is about consistent, moderate care for your body. It's not a marathon. I had a patient who sheepishly admitted to me that he masturbated 3 to 4 times a week, and he was worried this was too much, especially since he was happily married and in his late 60s. He felt guilty, as if he was doing something wrong, even though his wife had no complaints. After I explained to him that this frequency is actually quite normal and even healthy, his entire demeanor changed. That shift in thinking changed everything for him. I'm curious for you. Be honest in the comments below. Was that target frequency higher, lower, or right where you thought it would be? All right. We've covered the why and how often. Now we need to talk about how you do it, because not all masturbation techniques are equal, especially as you get older. There are a few common mistakes and bad habits that I see causing real problems for men. Let's go through them one by one and how to avoid them. The first mistake is skipping lubrication. The skin on the penis becomes more delicate with time. It's thinner and loses some elasticity. Friction from dry movement can create tiny tears you can't even see. Over time, this leads to irritation, tough scar tissue, and a real loss of feeling. Always use a good lubricant. A water-based lube is a great all-around choice, or a silicone-based lube lasts longer and can be even smoother. The second common error involves pressure. Many men notice their natural sensitivity changes a bit. The instinct is to compensate by gripping tighter or stroking harder. This starts a difficult cycle. That extra pressure can actually dull the nerves and affect blood flow. This makes you feel even less, so you use more force next time. You can break this cycle. Focus on a lighter, more mindful touch. The goal is variety in your motion, not sheer strength. The third point involves pornography. This is about how your brain works. Our brains respond to intense and constant stimulation. If you find you need more extreme content to feel aroused, you're training your brain to only respond to that. This can make real intimacy with a partner feel less stimulating. If you think this might be happening to you, consider cutting back on porn for a while to reset your sensitivity. You might be amazed that it still works pretty well if you give it a chance. If you find you cannot stop using porn or it's causing distress, that's a sign to possibly talk to a counselor familiar with compulsive sexual behavior. The fourth mistake is ignoring clear signals from your body. Pay attention to any pain during or right after. Notice a burning feeling when you urinate soon after. Look for any sign of blood in your semen. If you suddenly find you can't ejaculate when you used to, that's important too. These are not just normal signs of aging, they're red flags. They can mean an inflamed prostate, an infection, or another issue that needs attention. Your body is asking for help. My job as a urologist is to understand that signal and find the cause, not to judge you for it. The fifth mistake is rushing the process. As men get older, the whole sexual response cycle slows down. It might take longer to get fully aroused, and your orgasm might require more buildup compared to when you were 18. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural part of aging. But problems arise when men try to rush through masturbation. If you rush, you might actually have an incomplete ejaculation. This not only can feel unsatisfying, but it may also diminish those prostate clearing benefits we talked about. take your time. Enjoy the process. When you do reach orgasm, make sure you've allowed it to happen fully and completely. So far, we've been very focused on the physical side of things. Prostate this, blood flow that. But what about upstairs, in your head? It turns out masturbation has mental health benefits that are as real and important as the physical ones. When people joke about stress relief, there's actually truth behind that. Let's unpack it. When you masturbate to orgasm, your brain releases a specific mix of chemicals. Dopamine gives you that feeling of reward and pleasure. Oxytocin promotes calm and a sense of connection. Serotonin helps stabilize your mood. Endorphins create a mild euphoria and ease discomfort. Another chemical, prolactin, brings a feeling of satisfaction and has a deeply calming effect on the brain. This isn't just a theory. We can measure these changes. It's your body's own pharmacy, delivering exactly what you need. For men dealing with career stress, financial worries, or caring for family, this natural release valve is incredibly valuable. That same chemical shift, especially the prolactin, is also a powerful sleep aid. In fact, there's research that shows a clear link between orgasm and falling asleep faster, along with better sleep quality. This is a natural way to improve your rest without any side effects. Of course, it's not a cure-all for serious anxiety or depression, but as one tool in the box, it's pretty darn effective and certainly enjoyable. Never feel guilty for using it to unwind. It's far healthier than excessive drinking or other crutches people use to cope with stress. The fifth principle surprises a lot of guys. Masturbation can actually help protect your erectile function as you age. There's a popular saying, use it or lose it, and it very much applies to a man's ability to get erections. An erection is a hydraulic event. It requires strong blood flow into the penis and good valves to keep it there. Without regular use, those blood vessels become less responsive. The tissues lose some of their healthy elasticity. In one study of men over 55, men who had sexual intercourse at least once a week had about half the rate of erectile dysfunction compared to men who had sex less than once a week. And men who had sex 3 or more times a week had even better outcomes. This is all about maintenance. Regular erections, whether with a partner or alone, promote healthy blood vessel function. They keep the lining of those vessels smooth and support the muscle tissue inside the penis. This is especially powerful for men without a consistent partner. In this case, masturbation isn't second best. It's your primary method of maintenance. You're keeping the entire system operational. You make sure that when you do want intimacy with a partner, your body's infrastructure is ready and capable. I saw this with a patient whose wife was very ill for a year. All intimacy paused during that difficult time. When they tried to reconnect, he struggled with weak erections. The main issue was simple disuse. We used gentle solo activity and a soft vacuum device to bring consistent blood flow back to the area. Over several months, his function improved dramatically. The pathway for erections was still there, it just needed regular use again to become strong and reliable. Now we come to the sixth principle. We need to talk about the weight of guilt and shame. This is the silent burden so many men carry. You might have grown up with strong messages from family, culture, or religion that called this natural function a mistake. That creates a real conflict inside you. On one hand, it's a natural urge and can be pleasurable. On the other hand, you might feel dirty or weak or like you've sinned after you do it. Psychologists have a name for this inner struggle: masturbatory guilt.
As your doctor, I need to give you a clear medical verdict. From a purely biological and psychological health perspective, masturbation is normal, it's common, and as we have seen, it is beneficial. No respected medical organization anywhere lists it as an illness or a cause of harm. Those old stories about going blind or losing your strength are myths. They have no scientific truth behind them.
I deeply respect your personal and spiritual beliefs. If those beliefs create a conflict for you, my advice is twofold. 1, educate yourself, as you're doing now. Sometimes just knowing the facts can erode the foundation of the guilt. You start to see that maybe those old messages were outdated or incorrect. 2, if the guilt remains strong or is tied to religious beliefs that you still hold, consider talking to someone about it. This could be a therapist, preferably one who has experience in sexual health, or it could be a clergy member or a spiritual advisor you trust who has a compassionate view. The goal isn't to challenge anyone's faith, but to reconcile your healthy behavior with your values so you're not in constant conflict with yourself. While this is a healthy practice for most men, balance matters. Part of taking good care of yourself is recognizing the difference between a health-supporting habit and one that may have become harmful. Let's talk about a few clear signs that it might be time to seek some professional support. And please know, there is no shame in this. One scenario for help is when it begins to interfere with your daily life. For example, if you find yourself missing work, avoiding social activities, neglecting your partner, or generally structuring your day around masturbation, that's a signal. In medicine, we call this compulsive sexual behavior disorder. The issue isn't the act itself. The issue is a loss of control that leads to negative consequences. The good news is this is very treatable, often with a type of counseling called cognitive behavioral therapy. Another scenario for help. If you're experiencing persistent physical issues related to masturbation that don't improve with the adjustments we talked about. For instance, let's say you started using lube and being gentle, but you still keep getting irritation. Or you have pain in your pelvic region that isn't going away. Or you simply can't ejaculate anymore despite feeling on edge. These are all reasons to see a urologist. We can evaluate if there's prostatitis or hormone issues or medication side effects, etc., and address them. Sometimes it's as simple as changing a blood pressure pill that's causing a side effect, or taking a course of antibiotics, or doing pelvic floor physical therapy. But don't just suffer silently. Get it checked. What about if masturbation is replacing partnered sex entirely and causing relationship strain? This is a delicate one. Masturbation by itself isn't a problem, and many people in relationships masturbate without any issue. But if you find that you're consistently avoiding sex with your partner because you'd rather masturbate, it could put distance between you and your partner. This is usually a cue for open, honest communication with your partner. Sometimes seeing a couples therapist together can help. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your relationship might need some attention. For the vast majority of you watching, these red flags won't apply. Simply knowing about them is empowering. But if you do see yourself in any of these points, please understand that seeking help is a powerful act of self-respect. It is the strongest way to take control back for your health and your happiness. Now, let's bring all of this together into a simple, practical plan you can use. Think of this as your personal framework for a healthy habit and prostate care. First, aim for that sweet spot of about 19 to 21 times a month. That's roughly 4 or 5 times each week. Remember, this is a monthly average, not a strict daily requirement. All forms of release contribute to this goal. Next, always use lubricant. A good quality water-based or silicone-based lubricant will protect your skin from friction and make the experience more pleasurable. Also, be gentle and present during the process.
Focus on the sensation you feel rather than using force. Give yourself enough time to experience a complete and satisfying release. Pay attention to your mind and what you watch. If you choose to view pornography, do so conscientiously. Avoid letting it become a compulsive need. Your own imagination is a powerful and healthy tool. Most importantly, listen to your body. Any new pain or change is a signal you shouldn't ignore. Work on your mindset about this entire subject. Reframe it in your thinking from a secretive act to a genuine form of self-care. If you have a partner, consider opening a gentle conversation about it. Shared knowledge removes shame and can actually build deeper intimacy and understanding. I saw this work beautifully with a couple in their late 50s. The wife discovered that her husband was masturbating a few times a week, and she took it as a sign that she wasn't enough for him. He, on the other hand, was mortified that she found out because he'd always hidden it, and now it became a source of conflict and hurt feelings. In a counseling session, I helped explain to both of them the facts. I also explained to her his perspective and why she might feel as she did. The breakthrough was when we reframed his masturbation as actually a part of his health routine. This opened up a really honest conversation between them. She came to understand that his solo activity wasn't a rejection of her, and he understood that maybe he should be more open and even reassuring about his desires for her. They ended up establishing some comfortable boundaries and also more willingness to be intimate with each other. The issue pretty much dissolved after that. This shows how knowledge can disarm conflict and bring people closer. Let's finish with complete clarity. Gentlemen, masturbation after 50 isn't a childish habit or a shameful secret. The strong science shows us it can be a smart part of a proactive health plan. It offers protection for your prostate. It helps manage daily stress and can improve your sleep. It supports your erectile health and contributes to a positive feeling about yourself. Your current age doesn't make this irrelevant. It makes it more important. With prostate health becoming a key focus, you have a simple and natural tool available to you. It's time to stop letting old, outdated stories guide your decisions. Let this compassionate, evidence-based information guide you instead. If you take one thing from our time together, let it be this. You have more direct control over your prostate and sexual health than you may realize. Mindful, regular ejaculation is one of the ways you can take that control and use it to protect yourself. If this conversation changed how you think about this topic, please let me know. Hit the like button on this video. Share it with a friend who would benefit from this information. Tell me in the comments below, what was your biggest takeaway? Did that guidance about frequency surprise you? And if you want more clear, honest conversations about men's health, I'd be glad to have you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. I'm Dr. Katherine Rotker. Your health in every way matters deeply, and it matters at every age. You deserve information that is honest, grounded in science, and completely free from judgment. That is my promise to you on this channel. Take good care of your prostate. Take good care of your mind. Take good care of your entire self. Move forward with the confidence that comes from understanding your body and working with it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.